Yeah, well, I guess the point I had was understand your ratios and, full transparency. I've been guilty of not having a handle on this. And I think it's, going particularly from a small business to a medium sized business, a lot of the times you're just not used to these phrases or these measurements. So when you're a small business, you're generally running pretty hard, generating a lot of revenue. Profitability is generally good because you're the main revenue driver. But when you start to bring in different layers of management, you start to bring in different revenue streams into your business. All of a sudden, you've got all of this stuff going on, and a lot of it generally costs a lot of money. So you really need to understand your ratios from not just looking at your expenses, but what are you earning on certain revenues? What is the output to bring that revenue in? What is your net result on bringing that revenue in? And look, the reason I struggled with it is because we had so many new people come into the business and new divisions that I wasn't necessarily controlling. I was doing what I was doing. We had someone looking after admin and operations, someone looking after sales. So I think what you need to do, like the thing that I learned, is you need to give people complete responsibility over those areas, and those people, well, they're the ones that have a handle on that particular division, for lack of a better word, and then they can dive into what those ratios should be. So a great example is our offshore team. So we didn't have an offshore team 3 years ago. Geordie has come in, he's built that out himself. Now, he understands that way better than I do. I wouldn't have the faintest idea about how certain things in that division work. So it's Jordan's responsibility to come up with the ratios. What can we do with this team? Where can we leverage them? What's their efficiencies? Where do they max out? Where do we need to hire someone else? So if you're a small business and you're going into a medium-sized business like we were, you need to lean on other people and you need to give them authority, I guess, or control over certain divisions and give them the responsibility to make sure those ratios are right. So, and then, understand what you want your ratio to be, like your profitability ratio, and try and get there. And for us, and again, I'm happy to divulge, but for us, the last 3 years has all been about growth. And, we made an executive decision that that's what we wanted to do. Profit was put to the side because we were changing tactic a little bit, although still being very much mortgage brokers and planners. There were some things internally we were doing that was a little bit of a different approach. And we knew that was going to hurt profitability for at least 2 to 3 years. And it did hurt profitability. But then you get to a point where, okay, well, we achieved what we wanted to achieve. And this is where the conversation comes in around profitability versus reinvestment. But we achieved what we wanted to achieve. We created the model that we wanted to. We've got the business where it had to be. Now it's about profitability and making sure that what we've created through that reinvestment of the profits is actually doing what it was meant to do for us. And that's the focus now, which is going really well. So it's understanding what you want out of your business. Is it profit? Is it growth? If it's growth, what do you need to invest? And then where you're trying to get to. And then once you've got that growth, how do you then make sure that it's absolutely humming? And that's where the ratios come in. And we look at this stuff every week. It's not that's it and we just move on. It's stuff that we're consistently looking at, but making sure that all the money you've invested is actually getting you the return that you're seeking. Otherwise, what's the point? You need to look at it again and get it to where it needs to be.